Ladies and gentlemen, this is the big one, the big snowstorm that's going to blanket the Midwest and at least a foot of snow. 2 days ago, the forecast was only calling for 4 to 8 inches of snow, but what did I tell you? There's going to be a whole lot more. Guys, this system is just starting to get wrapped up, and if you think it's over, think again. Let's get down to the top of the radar and tell you what's going on. So, look, in St. Louis, Missouri, we've just seen a little lull in the precipitation, a little bit of a dry air pocket right in this area, right over the metropolitan right now. But look behind it. Look at the inflow right here. A little moisture getting into the air as we get a little bit of the heating of the day. The sun gets at the higher angle, and this whole low pressure system starts to wrap up and move down and out. It's going to accelerate out, and the backside of the storm is going to wrap around. And guys, depending on where these snow bands set up, this backflow and where this sets up, and how much of this moisture is still left coming up through here. I mean, here's what I want you guys to really pay attention to: is look at the what I would, I guess, call thunder shower, or just heavy shower development in northern Arkansas, right here where I got my cursor here, and even down into here, just these little specks on the radar. There's a lot of moisture still in the atmosphere. And as this comes up into southern Missouri and toward the St. Louis area, are we going to see more snow coming into the evening here and throughout Saturday? And if that's the case, I just took a measurement outside. We have 10 inches on the ground in my neighborhood. Some places are already reporting a foot. And if this flows in, 14, 15, 16, as much as 18 inches in some areas. So I think the forecast on this, they lowballed it completely. And the way this storm is wrapping today, this is not over, guys. This would be a significant weather event if this is how we're getting started for St. Louis. I want you guys to understand that imagine if all of this hadn't happened, and we're in St. Louis right now, there's no snow on the ground, there would be at least a winter storm watch for this, if not a winter storm warning in and of itself for the precipitation that's about to develop. Especially, taking you just let's pause this image for a second here. Gotta let it get to the area. Dang, I missed. Guys, that's what happens when you do the live broadcast. But look at this area right here. This deep blue, very heavy snow, right near the changeover line. They were talking about some warmer air moving into St. Louis and getting some sleet. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're kind of holding this warm air back a little bit. But what has happened is even if it's still all snow and you get right at that freezing line, the snow kind of compresses a little bit. So if it were colder, we'd have a foot of snow on the ground already, to put it simply. Anyway, guys, I'm going to be watching this radar all day. I am predicting between 14 and 15 inches. I think we're going to get another 4 to 5 inches of snow out of this. Some areas, though, like, check this out. Like, you pay attention to some of these areas out here in Kansas right here. This is still heavy snow, and these heavy snow bands tend to linger. I mean, even way out here, this is still accumulating snow. Not as heavy as these areas, but this will still add another inch or even 2 inches onto a storm total. And if one of these sets up across the metropolitan area, another 2-3 inches on top of everything, we could get some records in St. Louis. This is going down as the biggest snowstorm I've seen in my lifetime. And talking to my parents, you got to go back to the early 1980s before you saw anything bigger. That storm was sort of unique because internet wants to be slow. But the storm in 1982, I think it was 82, it was a very sort of narrow band that hit like South City and basically the city with 20 inches of snow. But by the time you're out in St. Charles County, they were only reporting totals of like 7 or 8 inches. So that was a very isolated event. You got to go back to like 1912 before you get some kind of 20-inch plus snowstorm in the St. Louis area. So this is certainly the storm of the millennium so far, and we're going to see what happens. Now, how do I turn this thing off?